Hello, I'm LegenTerry, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. Sorry if I sound weird, I got sick last week, which is why this is coming out so late. But anyways, you already know what this game is. Cyberpunk 2077 has been out since like December of 2020. But as of a couple weeks ago, Projekt Red completely reworked the entire game and brought it up to a version 2.0. A kind of soft relaunch, if you will, of the original game, with tons of improvements and adjustments to the old systems. And as of last week, the new expansion, The Phantom Liberty, was released. And this isn't just your garden variety of DLC, it's a premium $30 expansion starring Idris Elba, which is supposed to offer its own lengthy new campaign experience. It can be played after about 10 hours into your original save, but the devs recommend that you try starting a new save since version 2 is out, which will serve you tutorials for the newly added features. I want to make sure that the line between free and paid content isn't blurry, so with that in mind, I'm going to try to separate the new features of the version 2.0 update from the content included in the Phantom Liberty as I give you my impressions. The question is, should you reload Cyberpunk 2077? Let's dig in. I've been playing a lot of this game, and man, I forgot just how much I missed this insane neon and chrome world. All the colorful characters like Jackie, Takamura, Dexter Deshawn, Panam, Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand just being a complete shithead all the time. The futuristic loadouts and weapons like the mantis blades, the monowire, all that. The stupid and fun slang like Nova, Choom, and Delta, these dumb things people rattle off that you have no idea what they're talking about until you settle into the world for a long time. The last time I played this game, it was the Xbox One version, and it was like 3 years ago. I was playing on the Series X, but they didn't have, the Series X and the PlayStation 5 update out yet. I just remember the performance being like completely abysmal, but like everything else about the game had so much promise. Like I loved all the characters, I loved the writing, the story. It all came through like in a really, really good way. It was just held back by sloppy performance and just not enough time in the oven. Before this most recent update, the 2.0, they already had some other updates to the game which were like severely needed. So they did things like added transmog outfits that you can change to at your like wardrobe, and they boosted the population of Night City. So like before you'd go into city streets and they would just be completely barren besides like one or two cars and a couple of civilians walking around. Now it's like you can see maybe 30 or 40 NPCs on screen at a time with a whole bunch of traffic running back and forth. If you're going like super fast in traffic, yeah, you'll start to see like one or two cars pop up, but that's also just kind of a gameplay thing, because if the streets were completely populated, you'd just be running into the backs and sides of cars all the time. It's like, I think they do the same thing in Grand Theft Auto, so it's not really a big deal. It's actually like helpful for gameplay. But yeah, as soon as you turn the game on again, you just immediately get smacked in the face with all this style that the game oozes. You have the radio announcer going ham, just talking about like, oh yeah, we got 30 people dead today. There were a whole bunch of people poking holes in the electrical grid, so there were blackouts everywhere, and there's cyber psychos on the loose, and they're still cleaning this dude's guts up off the street because he got murdered by him. And it's really fun, and it's not just surface level, it's like actually baked into the game and the gameplay and all of the narrative stuff that you'll be doing. It's like coming immediately off the heels of Starfield. Man, you guys can like Starfield all you want, it was not for me. I've already covered it with my review, you can go watch that if you want. If you're really angry about it, sorry. It's just not for me. But yeah, just the stark juxtaposition between that game and this game, where it's like, that game is super, super sterile. All the characters feel like they're cardboard cutouts, they're one-dimensional, they have nothing really going on with them. And then over here, you've got just crazy shit happening all the time, and these people that are super likable and super, super unlikable, but in a really, really fun way. And the performances, like, Jesus Christ, you forget, Keanu Reeves played like a leading role in this game. He's not the most expressive actor, and I know a lot of people will get mad. I'm not ragging on him, I'm just saying he's a great guy. I would love to meet the dude, but like, he has a very specific style of doing things, and he plays Johnny Silverhand perfectly. Like, he plays this stuck-up rocker asshole from like, 50 years ago or whenever it was supposed to be. And you can just tell that like he hates everything and everyone, and he's stuck in your head. And it's just such a cool position for him to be in, to play as that character. And now you get Idris Elba in the mix, who is like probably the most suave motherfucker in the world. And man, what an inspired choice for this character he's playing. He's playing as I think it's Reed, who I'm not going to get into spoilers, but basically he's kind of like hard-boiled detective slash secret agent, and he fills this role perfectly. If you've watched any of the stuff from like the live stream, I think it was a live stream, it might have been just a video, but you can really tell that like he loved this role. He loved playing in this game, and he is deeply in love with the setting and all of the stuff. He did a whole bunch of remixed music for one of the new radio stations. The one thing that makes me kind of sad is that you don't really get to see like Johnny and Reed interacting with one another, and it makes sense in the context of the story. If you've played the base game, then you know that Johnny is like a construct that's stuck in your head because he's stuck on this chip that you inserted, so you're the only one that can really see and hear him. But him just being like the asshole that he is and absolutely hating corporations and the government, and Reed being this guy who's like unwavering support towards the government, leads him through everything that he does. It would be so fun to see like them sit down and have a conversation and go back and forth. But anyways, let's talk about the changes that have been made. So in version 2.0, they have done so much work, like almost the entire game got changed in some way, something has been touched. So they've completely revamped the talent trees, and they boosted the max level to 60. All of the trees are spread out. I think there's 5 different attributes, and those attributes each have their own tree. I don't remember exactly how it was set up in the first game, but it feels like everything actually has a purpose now. You can pick between a few different things to go into and work them all the way up to the top, and then you get like an extra 10 points, because I think it was originally max level 50, if I'm not mistaken. There are new skills that are super helpful, like leaps, lunges, and air dashes, and especially when you pair them with melee-centric builds, they really shine. But the air dash in specific, if you're not playing with the air dash, you need to try the air dash. I'm sorry, you're playing it wrong if you're not playing with an air dash. But besides that, they also have like passive skill upgrades now, and items that drop that give you free points into them. So you get things that are like Shinobi or Headhunter, and each time you get 5 of those, you get a little bit of a boost to certain things. So you'll get like a capacity boost for how much you can carry, or you'll get like a boost in your armor percentage, or a boost in the damage you do with a certain weapon type. I can't remember if it was in this update or if it was a previous one, like the one where they added transmog, but stats are pretty much completely untethered from the clothing that you find. So you can wear what you want, and anything that you're stuck with like a plus 10 armor, plus 20 armor or something, you can always just cover it up with a transmog outfit. The crafting got reworked a little bit, so rarity names were changed. I think it's now a tiered system where it's like level 1 tier +1 or level 1 plus tier 2. And there's still the colors there to guide you so you know what's higher tier. But crafting also got changed where you only need one type of component for crafting upgrades now. There's not a whole bunch of different things that you need. Super good quality of life stuff like this. They've also completely overhauled the UI, so the quest log, the menu on your phone, the GPS system, all the item descriptions have like new things, like they each have their own bars that you can compare with one another. Just like everything got changed. The enemy NPCs and the weapon drops are now scaled based on your level. So you're no longer like going to an area and getting your ass handed to you because everything is like 20 levels higher. Every place that you go to scales to your level. Cars have improved handling, and now you can do combat with your cars. You can shoot out of the windows with whatever weapons you have, and there are also cars that actually have weapons built onto them, which I haven't got to play with yet because I haven't had the money to purchase one that has the guns on them. They have like guns and missiles attached to them. Car combat feels a little bit sloppy. I'm not sure about it yet because it feels like a lot of like trying to turn your camera around to spray somebody with a submachine gun, all the while you're like wrecking into the backs of cars the whole time. But I feel like that could improve with weapons being on your car itself, and hopefully it's like you can just hose down an enemy that's in front of you before they end up behind you because they're headed towards you in the opposite direction. There are better police in the game. They're actually smarter now. They actually do what they're supposed to, and they show up when they're supposed to. And Max Tac are actually in the game. These are the guys who are like the special forces that come out, like the SWAT team, to deal with the cyber psychos and people who are just getting in way over their heads. I still need to go back and try to fight some of these guys. I haven't got a wanted level over like 3 yet, just because I've been trying to get through the story stuff. But it's really cool because I think it was the first trailer way back like 10 years ago. You saw like MaxTac taking out a woman who had mantis blades coming out, who had gone cyber psycho and killed a bunch of civilians. And it's so weird that they weren't in the game until now. Like, why did it take so long? There are 3 new radio stations with music from people in their community. They had like musicians come out and record new things for them, and I said before, Idris Elba remixed a bunch of music for one of the channels, and then the other one is just like electronic music, I think. But it's, you know, it's all stuff that fits in the world. So that was pretty much all, or most of what I can remember at least, from the version 2.0 update stuff. So from here on out, it's going to be all Phantom Liberty. I'm going to try to spoil as little as possible, but for those people who are wary of spoilers, I guess I'll leave a tag here to let you know when it's safe to return. But I'm just going to cover the surface level stuff. So I'm going to talk about how you get introduced to the story and the characters in it. But anyways, here's what happens. You get contacted by a woman using the handle Songbird. She says that she knows about your little relic problem in the back of your head about Johnny Silverhand, and she has a way to fix it, but she needs your help. So you're the only person that she could contact because of the relic. Because right now, she's sitting across the seat from the president of the new USA. Songbird is the assistant to the president, and right now, their AV, the aerial vehicle I think is what it stands for, is being hacked, and it's being flown over top of Night City where you're at. And as it's coming in, they realize it's going to go over top of Dogtown. And Dogtown is this place in Pacifica, it's like at the very edge of the city, and it's just overrun with crazy people, and it's run by this warlord named Hanson. Hanson used to be like, I think, on the new USA's side, and then he decided to just go on his own and take over this part of the city. And Dogtown is kind of like an abandoned project that was supposed to be the city of the future area. It was supposed to be like super, super big high rises and cool architecture, and it was supposed to bring a whole bunch of prosperity to Night City. But it got abandoned, I guess, after Hanson came in and fucked everything up. But anyways, basically they see that it's going over top of Dogtown, and it's probably going to come down somewhere there. They think that he is responsible. And what ends up happening is the AV they're in gets shot down as she's trying to guide you to see where it's going. And all of these like civilians and people are rushing to this AV crash site because they want whatever's in there. Some people, I think, know it's the president, and they're there to kidnap her because they're Hanson's men, and they think they can get ransom out of her or something. You get there, you take out a whole bunch of dudes, and you get the president out. And from there, that's kind of where I'm going to stop with the story stuff, because it gets more involved after that. But later on, you get introduced to Idris Elba playing Reed, who is, like I said, this sort of hard-boiled detective / secret agent. I think he's like a sleeper agent, maybe. And he's working to try to get the president out and figure out what's going on in Dogtown. Like why they got shot down, who did the hack initially, and some other stuff. And there's some really cool segments in here, especially at the very beginning, that's like straight out of an anime. I won't say which one, but it's one of my favorite anime from back in the day. If you know your like cyberpunk history on the genre, you probably know which one I'm talking about, but it's like ripped straight out of there basically. It's one of the coolest like set piece things that you'll see. But yeah, there's the main narrative for you to follow, the stuff with Hanson and what's going on with him and the president and all this stuff. And then there's also this entire new area that you have to explore called Dogtown that's sort of separated from the rest of Night City. It's off in this other area in Pacifica that you had to sneak into. There's a whole bunch of new side gigs and side quests and activities for you to do. There's one thing in specific, so Hanson, being this warlord, he has things airdropped in from other places, and when these airdrops come in, everybody kind of makes a mad dash for them, which is why like when the AV shot down, everybody went towards there to see what was happening because they thought it was an airdrop, I think. But these airdrops come in, they're caches that you can run up to, and there'll be like people fighting over it. If you kill off all the enemies that are there, you can get the cache for yourself. That will have stuff like crafting components, new guns, new armor, stuff that's higher level than what you already have. So it's really beneficial for you to go out of your way to get these things. And you'll hear like a noise that sounds like a plane coming in from orbit, and you'll see red smoke come up whenever it hits the ground, and that tells you where it's at. When you get close to it, you hear like a beacon noise going off. It's like a really cool little system where it's like you'll be on the way to do a quest and then you'll hear this thing and you'll see it come down and it's like, well, I'm going over that way because if I go that way, I'm going to get more points in my shinobi skill or my headhunter skill and I'm going to get new weapons and new armor. It's a really cool loop for this area. Alright, it's a new day. I had to let my throat take a rest and thank God I'm actually feeling better now so we can continue. So there's one other side mission type that's kind of exclusive to Dogtown that's not in the base game, it's only in Phantom Liberty, and these are the courier missions for El Capitan. El Capitan is one of the fixers, I think that's what they're called, almost said handlers. Too much Armored Core 6, don't worry about it. And along with him, there's also some other NPCs that make appearances that didn't get a lot of time in the spotlight in the initial game. But I'm just going to avoid spoiling those for now. I'll just say these missions for El Capitan, the courier missions, basically they have you looking for vehicles around town and you steal them from enemies who are just hanging out around them. And you have an objective to get them to a garage for El Capitan. And sometimes you'll either be under a time limit or you'll be getting chased or you have to get there without it taking any damage. Now, I thought these were pretty fun. They got a little bit repetitive, but at the same time, it's also, you're stealing a different type of vehicle every time, so it's not always the same experience. So, for instance, sometimes you might get a, like, armored truck that you're having to take to an area, and you're getting chased the entire time, and you have to shoot off enemies, you have to prevent them from, like, getting in front of you and blocking your path. Sometimes you'll get, like, a super fast vehicle, and you have to, you have to get it there as fast as possible. And sometimes those roles will be reversed. You'll have to take a really fast vehicle and you'll have to keep it from getting damaged, or you'll have to take a really slow armored vehicle and you'll have to get it there fast. It's kind of cool. Now, I think I forgot to mention it back in the 2.0 area that this was covering, but there's also a new perk that allows you to hack cars remotely. So you can also use this during the courier missions for El Capitan. But essentially, it lets you, like, just stomp on the brakes so it makes them come to a stop really fast, or you can just make them mash the gas pedals, they'll go flying past you or ram the vehicle they're next to. And on top of the car hacking perk, I also mentioned there being a 6th tree back there somewhere, and they have added a new skill tree. It's not super expansive, it's really tightly knit, but it's for these things called relic perks, and they're essentially power-ups for the relic they got implanted in your neck that has Johnny Silverhand on it. And these are kind of like modifiers for, mostly it's like the arm types that you have. So if you have gorilla arms or the launcher or mantis blades, or did I say the monowire? Monowire is the other thing. But essentially it like buffs them up with certain things. So like for the mantis blades that I have, it lets you leap to the enemies and then I think it like starts putting you in a berserk state or something once you get enough hits in on enemies. Something like that. I would have to go back and actually read what the perk does. But whatever it is, it's helpful. And then there's also separate ones that give you some additional bonuses in stealth and gunplay, and it makes them a little bit more fluid. So it gives you like bonus damage for targeting certain areas on enemies, or it gives you like an extra window of time to like back out of an encounter if you've been detected. It like slows down time and lets you back up real quick if you crouch fast enough. When you're out exploring around Dogtown, you'll find these like Militech data terminals, and these are how you get the relic points to unlock your relic perks. I think each of the major ones takes like 3 points, and then the minor ones take 1 point. But basically, once you found them all, I believe you can unlock everything, but don't quote me on that because I haven't tried yet. But yeah, outside of the main story, I think I've covered just about everything. Like I said, there's a lot of returning characters from the main game that didn't get a lot of time to shine. They now have their own chance to sort of show you what they're about. The story is like really interesting. It kind of throws you into the deep end right away and gets you into there. And if you found yourself like at all interested in this game before all the updates, you should definitely give this a chance. If you're a fan of the anime especially, like there's a whole bunch of nods to it now. There's some Easter eggs and things. Edgerunners was fantastic. I love that show. I won't say the game is 100% fixed, but it is way better than it used to be, like by a major score. I absolutely think you should reload Cyberpunk 2077 for the Phantom Liberty expansion.